Hi again. Another from the scrap box to running model remotored with a cheap eBay motor. This is a Mehano Yugoslavia days 1970s, sold in America and North America under the AHM brand. RS-3 Alco RS-3 road switcher. Now the original model had a very bad motor in it, although it does have 8-wheel drive. It has a very poor motor. It had a very poor motor in it, very, very noisy, and the model has a lot of issues with it that modern modelers wouldn't want. They would snub this and call it a piece of junk or whatever. I don't believe there's such a thing as a junk model once it's running on the layout and doing its thing. Now, this was a scrap box job, came in a lot, and it was originally in the Southern Railway, the American Southern Railway colours, which was very nice livery, but I don't model though. I model mostly northeastern American railroads from the early 1950s to 1980, and so I came across a photo of an RS-3, a former New Haven RS-3, that had a Penn Central patch on it. So it was very mucky and dirty, but it had a Penn Central patch. So it was post 1968 when Penn Central consolidated, or 1970, the New York Central, Pennsylvania and New Haven Railroad. So this was probably working somewhere between Boston and the Bronx, or maybe got as far as Brooklyn down through the Hell's Gate Bridge. But you could put this anywhere now on a Penn Central layout. This is why Penn Central, it's unfortunate the logos are just pure black because it kind of makes them ugly, but it's a really interesting railroad to model because it covered a vast area of the United States, and from St. Louis and Chicago all the way across to Maryland, West Virginia, Washington D.C., all the way up into Boston, New York, everywhere, through Pennsylvania and Ohio. So I decided I was going to do that. So using AK interactive markers, the signal red color, I have to say, was bang on for the New Haven red. It was perfect. So using the red and the black, I reimagined it. I also used the AK markers to do the detail on the bogies, or the trucks as Americans call them, and the underframe detail, and also the Vallejo washes, which are great. Now, there was a problem with the drive system and the motor, in that the new motor was this small one that I got off eBay quite cheap with 2 flywheels. So it still needed a transmission system to the 2 gear towers. So what I used was this stuff. This is surgical tubing. It's an incredibly strong and flexible tubing that you can use as transmission lines. If you get the 1.5mm size, it will go into most spindles on the gear train, and it's flexible for when it bends around corners, so it does replace the universal ball joint in that case. So the transmission was fine. Now there is a compromise in that you do lose some of the momentum caused. Well, they're very small flywheels anyway. It's like an N-scale motor, but not all of it. You lose most of it because that you would retain if you still had a ball and socket joint. But with plenty of oil and grease, it runs good. Also, when you install the surgical tubing between the motor spindle and the drive chain, make sure it's not hanging like this. Make sure it's as straight as possible, and don't worry about going around corners. This is highly flexible and strong. If you leave a sag like this, when it spins, it goes like a skipping rope, and it will bang against the side of the chassis and things like that. So always keep it nice and straight. So the model lives again. I really don't know what much else to say about it. I got what I wanted. I think it looks really classy with the Penn Central patch on the old New Haven thing with the weathering, and it's running great. It runs a lot quieter and a lot slower than the Mehano one ever did. I haven't put the glazing in the cab yet because I want to see it as a glazing kit. It's kind of tricky to do the curved glazing with, but I'll do that later at some point, and I'll put Katie couplers on it. So there we go. The ancient Mehano RS-3 given a new lease of life with a new motor